Abner.
Here.
Secretary Dennis Hutchins. Member Owen Kress.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Sr.
Present.
School Board Member Brian Johnson is absent, and City Attorney Del Weldon is absent, and Zach Anderson is in his presence.
Alrighty, moving on to approval of minutes from the previous meeting. If everybody's had a chance to look at their minutes, I'll take a motion to approve. Or
So moved.
a motion by Dennis, to have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cross. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved. Any announcements from anybody on the board? Hearing none, we'll move on to the financial report.
As of August 6th, 2018, the balance for redevelopment is $2,111,637.53, and after monies committed to projects, it's $1,179,273.26.
Ready? New business. Chad Jewett. He is not ready, so he will not be at this meeting. He will be here next month. He is interested in the property on William Street and Mary, is it Brian?
Maple.
Maple. And I think right now we had promised to build senior housing there. But
You said William Street?
William Street, railroad tracks.
Oh.
It's what we refer to as the Maple Street property.
Maple and William, yeah. We've said we want senior housing in there, but we've had so many apartments disappear in Lawrenceburg that we have residents moving to Aurora because there's just absolutely nowhere for them to move to. So if this man is willing and wanting to build an apartment complex there, affordable housing, so I want to know if the board would like any kind of housing to go in there besides just senior housing. Well, don't get me wrong, we need senior housing also, but right now it's kind of an emergency situation for regular apartment affordable housing in Lawrenceburg. We have lost it horribly bad. So I'm asking for a motion or discussion on that. If there's no motion, then right now we have to put senior housing in there, don't we, Brian?
Yeah, I think the board in the past had voted and indicated the preference to senior housing. We have had some interest. I've shared with you not an apartment, but also a housing development in that area. So in order for any of those folks to move forward, we would have to redesignate that area for other kinds of housing.
Yeah, and this isn't just, it's not Section 8 housing. This is just affordable housing, and it's for seniors.
Well, I would be willing to make the motion if it included not only that, but the possibility of what Mr. Messmore is talking about in regular housing as well.
Okay.
I would make the motion that it include any kind of housing that would fit in the property.
I would agree with that also, because I think that we need to do something with that, and we do need some apartments.
All right, so I have a motion by Dennis and second by Randy. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right, so that's passed. We can start working on that. Up next, Jenny Fowler, SBDC funding.
Well, you always do such a fine job. I didn't want to maybe set you up for failure here. No, Jenny's here, and she will do a much better job explaining what she does than I do. But as you recall,
No doubt about it.
I'll just let you go. How's that sound?
Thank you, thank you. Well, thank you for allowing me to come before the redevelopment committee today. And first, I'll tell you a little bit about what I do, just to refresh your memory, because I know I was in here before, but just refresh that, and then we can talk about later why I'm really here. But so my name is Jenny Fowler. I am a business advisor with the Indiana Small Business Development Center. I cover 6 counties. That includes Franklin, Dearborn, Ripley, Ohio, Switzerland, Decatur. And I meet clients in Lawrenceburg, Batesville, and Greensburg. So I can meet clients all over, but those are my 3 main locations, and Lawrenceburg is really kind of my hub office. I meet clients down in the Chamber CVB building, So in case you know of anybody and you want to refer me, that's where I am. Anyway, basically what I do is I give anybody who wants to start a business, expand a business, or commercialize a product, I give them no charge business advice. And I give them advice on just about everything that there is in business. Now, I try to keep myself away from things like legal concerns and accounting, but I get people directed in the right ways. So if you want to start a business, or if you're looking to expand a business, I would be your first point of contact for that. I have a lot of resources, and some of those resources come from the state of Indiana, some of them come from the federal government, but some of them also come from Purdue University. The region that I'm in, the southeast region, has 14 counties, and again, I cover 6 of those counties. And we are funded through the SBA, which is a federal entity, the state of Indiana, and then in our region, our host is Purdue University. So I have the resources that Purdue has as well to help business people. This year, we've done a lot of things in the last year in this area, in Lawrenceburg specifically. I worked with Pat and Hannah on putting on a small business boot camp, where we have 3 people who more than likely want to start businesses in Lawrenceburg. They're looking right now for locations. So it was an 8-week course, and I think we're really successful. I think Main Street also wants to sponsor that again for next year, so we're going to do that. I meet with people. I work on the partnership committee. We work together to help them get people started and solidified in Dearborn County. Now, back to the funding part. Our funding is constructed so that we always have a gap. We get a lot of funding from the SBA, although the SBA has said that they want to cut their funding for next year somewhat. We get a lot of funding from the state and some from Purdue, but we have a gap still for our budget. Last year we had a larger gap. The reason that we have a gap is that we need to go out to our local communities and solicit support so that they have some ownership over what we're doing, some hand in what we're doing as well. And so that's what brings me here today. Today, I'm asking the Redevelopment Commission of Lawrenceburg to help me in supporting local small business. If you have any questions or anything about that and what I do specifically, we can talk about that. But we have a gap this year of about $40,000 that we're trying to go out and get money for. And we're doing that across our 14 counties. I just recently got solicited money from Greendale, their redevelopment, also from Dillsboro in Dearborn County so far. So normally the CVB supports me and Main Street, which I haven't really talked to them. I haven't got to that point yet, so I'm here in redevelopment. Brian said that he thought it would be a good idea if I came in, talk to you a little bit about that, as well as if you have questions about what I do.
Yeah, and I would just add that all of our small business grants that we've run, the LRC Main Street program requires a business plan, and many, if not all those, unless they're already successful business people with business plans, they do go see Jenny. They have to prepare the business plan before they can come back and apply for the grant. Yes,
I vet a lot of business plans for different groups. So, and one of them is for Main Street. So, what I do is if they come in with a business plan, I'll go through the business plan as if I'm looking at it for any kind of funding. They need to have a business plan that is a good, solid plan, and usually they think it's a lot more solid than it really is, so there's usually a lot of work to do. Yeah.
Well, I have a couple of questions. We know that you play an intricate role from that function for Main Street, which we fund on some other projects, so it's a piece that was missing, so that helps us. You mentioned there's 3 businesses that currently want to come out of the workshop.
Well,
they want
yes,
to come
out of the
here,
workshop.
possibly.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what kind of businesses they are.
So specifically, the workshop was around retail and restaurants. So that's what they are. One of them is a coffee shop. One of them is not. It's an artist venue with a high-end tattoo studio. And the other one is an entertainment dance location, like dance bar kind of.
Where are they interested? Have they got spots picked
They
out
want,
already?
no, they're looking for them. They want to be in downtown Lawrenceburg, all three of them.
Thank you.
And I'm working with the mayor and with Brian to try to help them to find locations. That is one of their biggest issues right now, is finding
Well,
locations.
I'm
just to
personally in favor to all the board members in helping support her. And we did have some discussions in our approach meetings to this, so. Did you have a figure? We had a figure in mind.
Well, I think we talked about a figure. When I went back and talked to my people, I've been asking for $5,000. If you can give more than that, though, we would be more than happy to accept that. If you can give less, if you want to give less, I understand as
I
well.
would make a motion that we offer $4,000.
I have a motion for 4. Do I have a second?
That would be in the form of a motion.
I'll second that motion.
I have a second by Randy. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Get 4,000.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And if you ever have any questions or anything you want to talk about the small businesses in this area, please don't hesitate to call, email me, let me know. We can talk about it candidly.
Now, does Main Street donate money to you also? Will you be donating money to her, Pat? Or?
The board has had an initial discussion about it, but we were looking to include them, and this is in our 2019 budget.
This is for the 2019 budget, yeah.
So, yes, we're looking to include them. Had a positive discussion, so they haven't voted on any specific.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I will, instead of taking out next year's budget.
We'd be welcome to that.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you. Mr. Messmore, marketing agreement.
Okay, let's see, where are we at here? I might as well walk up to the podium.
Long way from
I don't have some glasses.
I don't go up there.
And you got extra pair of glasses.
Here, I got some.
I'll see if I can get through
This ought to be, Danny.
Okay. All right, well, I have provided all of you except Mr. Senior. Nice to see you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank
Sorry I missed you last week. I'm glad you're feeling better. With a scope of services and proposal for a marketing package. And I have, hopefully you have reviewed that. I would be asking the board tonight for approval to spend up to $5,000 to work on this marketing package for the beautiful city of Lawrenceburg here in the tri-state area. I mean, you see it. Do you have any questions? I think it would be a fantastic tool to provide to.
This study will be conducted through your office.
That's correct.
In this city, right?
That's correct.
Okay. I think it's terrific. I don't know if the other guys have spent much time with it, but I love it. I think it's great. You might mention that MKSK.
Yeah, it is MKSK.
Put this together out of Columbus for us. And,
Yeah.
or part of it. I'm not saying they did all of it, but.
And, you know, we have a relationship with them. It is a professional service.
Anybody else have any questions or would like to make a second? That was a motion, right?
It certainly was.
All right. I got a motion by Dennis.
I'll second Dennis's motion because I think it's a good investment.
And a second by Randy. All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Thank you very much.
That passed.
Do they have a target on this for when you'll have something in your hands?
I think it was 4 to 6 weeks.
Is that holds?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think that was the,
It works.
Is Jeffrey doing this with you?
Jeff, yes, Jeff, and I don't recall the other guy's name, but he'll be the, you know,
They're pretty sharp.
yeah, oh yeah. I think it'll be good for us.
Well, can I ask a couple of questions? Sure. As long as we're talking about that marketing, Are we holding off on this,
On the
or
RFP?
am I getting ahead of the?
No, you're fine. I mean,
Okay.
we've talked about the RFP. I've just basically, the local folks that have been interested, I've just been saying, go ahead and bring a proposal in. The RFP is a tool that can go out. It doesn't have to go out.
But this is going to be our
Yeah, this would
presentation
be,
piece
yeah, I mean, I think this really,
at large.
different, yeah, a larger, broader group.
Which we could still use this if
Yeah.
we need to. Got it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. That's it for new business. We'll move on to old business and Mr. Messmore updates.
What's next on the agenda? I don't know what I did with my agenda.
Main Street.
Updates, Main Street.
Okay, in your packet, you do have the Main Street update. You will see the list of projects that we have worked committed to this year, and at the bottom, you will see the budget balance in each of those grant categories. Thank you, Mr. Todd. Need my glasses. So if there are any questions, Tony, and I did follow up.
This one right here.
You asked a question about equipment, and we do a UCC filing on equipment for a 5-year period. So thank you for the
Alrighty.
thought, and we will and have been doing so.
Alright, so
I thought it was
any more
pretty
updates?
comprehensive. I liked it.
Any more updates? The row house? You got anything on that? What's going on there?
Okay, well, when the construction started, the wall became an issue. Kind of an emergency situation. We called in a
Engineer.
historical building facade expert and came up with an engineering design to tie that wall into the structure. There's also some framing inside that was done to help support. So we did that. I do not have an invoice on that yet. I don't know if it'll go through the park project as a change order, or if it'll come to us at some point. I don't,
Talking about the 13 tiebacks that
yes.
they put, okay.
Yeah. So we had to do that. It appears to be structurally sound, other than over the weekend on Saturday, I got a call and came down. We had some shingles blow off the roof of that row house. So I would like to suggest that I get somebody to go up there and take a look at that roof, make sure there's not, Dennis is going up.
I'm just nodding my head, yes.
No, you're getting pointed at. So I need to get
This guy
somebody.
right here
yeah.
that's pointing at me?
Yeah, I need to get somebody up on the roof and to take a look at, and make sure we do not have. Yeah. Can you help me do that? Sure. Okay.
We could just
Hold the
let the
rope.
termites take care of it.
All right, now that you're talking, so is that an okay? Okay.
I don't see a problem.
Also, we have termites.
Oh,
And, well, we have had the exterminator in to treat for termites. So, and I've also we discovered that they may or may not be in the other buildings, and we'll talk about that in a minute. What else about that? The engineer who looked at the building when he was designing the tiebacks, I asked him how we should finish the exterior of the building, knowing that the park project was continuing to proceed and that this stage area was supposed to be the first completed. He suggested that I always forget, is it EFS, is an insulation material, and then plaster or stucco, kind of like what's on there. So I'm going to dig a little bit around on some costings and prices for that kind of stuff. But he, hands down, flat out, thought that that was the best, easiest, and cheapest way to go, and to provide the kind of finish that we need.
but we don't have any idea at this point what the cost is, right?
No.
Okay.
So that's all I got on the row house, unless there are any other
Do we
questions.
lead into the possibility that the other one is for sale?
Okay. Yeah, I have that down a little farther, but.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Let's go for it right now.
Okay.
So the termites, so I called the owner of the property next to 140 High Street, would be 146, and advised them that we found termites in our structure and they may want to have their structure looked at. During that conversation, the owner indicated to me that he would be willing to sell that property at the average of 2 appraisals,
Which would be,
45.5.
Didn't we make an offer on that once before?
No.
we never really got there.
We got it appraised.
We got close, but we didn't get there, yeah.
Yeah, well, we were trying to be conservative, I think, and, we needed the easement next to the building in
Well,
the park. So.
let's add something, Brian. That was before we got into the park as we are now. It was before we came up with a possibility of fixing the wall. It was before the tiebacks. I don't know how these guys feel, but I feel we should buy that property because we need it.
We need it to go with the property we own because
Then we're done
whatever they
with it.
put in there could be used as one building.
Actually makes it more attractive for somebody that comes in there.
Yeah.
They can now put a restaurant in that has enough room because they only had 42 feet before, or 36 feet, whatever.
I'd like to make a motion, we go ahead and let Brian go forth with this, on this piece of
I'll
property.
second that motion.
Got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against?
I
Motion passed.
know
Go
this
ask-
isn't, like rocket science, but those buildings that we buy eat, and so they tend to bleed us a little bit. So maybe I'll get it checked out.
We'll take it out of your pocket.
Okay, appreciate that.
Well, I mean, they're not pretty.
Yeah. All right.
Lotus Apartments.
Okay. Just a quick update. Again, we reviewed some of this, but to keep the public informed, the Flirting Collins continues to do some due diligence over there. The development agreement obviously has not been completed at this point. I had mentioned that we had discovered an historic easement on the property for construction. We did meet with the Indiana Landmarks last week, and seems we have a good relationship, and I think, they are owed and have rights to review of the process, but we don't believe there's going to be any real points of conflict about the project at this point. Good meeting,
Well, that's just an update on it.
just an update.
We just want to be a good neighbor.
Pardon me?
Just want to be a good neighbor.
Got to be a good neighbor, exactly.
All righty. 359 Arch Abatement.
359. Just got a bid package on that, didn't I?
It will be advertised in Thursday's paper. The votes will be turned in.
20? 30th.
And add to that, there was some asbestos will be abated starting Wednesday this week.
That, okay. And then I also see a car wash, old car wash demo project being,
Both of them
okay.
will be done simultaneously.
Brian,
Okay.
the 359, did we authorize you to do a survey on that too?
Yeah.
And are we okay with the building in the back? And I went back and looked at the telephone pole, the little marks writing on the pole. And
Yeah, I actually need to get Tony in the office to sign off on the survey.
pretty tight space back there.
Yeah, it's,
All righty. Next would be 305 West Center.
Yeah, there had been questions in the past about when the property owner on 305 West Center was going to get started. He was working on a survey for his barn in the back, and I believe that's done or nearing completion. So that was his delay and holdup, but he fully intends on meeting the obligations of.
planning on having it drive in before.
Mike, I didn't hear all of that.
Pardon me?
I didn't
Can't
hear.
hear.
I didn't hear.
He's planning on getting started and having it dried in before winter sets in.
Right.
Okay. Next would be Maple Street, which we've already discussed.
Already talked about.
So we can go on to appraisals.
Yeah, just a quick update on appraisals. 300 Margaret, the average of the two appraisals was 18,000. This is the lot directly across from Acapulco's. I'm asking or informing, because I think you've given me permission already, that we will proceed with an advertisement for that property at 18,000. And while that's going on, I'm going to ask Kelly to schedule a construction committee meeting so we can start determining the criteria for competitive proposals.
But bringing up some L levels and things like that.
Yeah.
Good.
542 West High, we got the appraisals back on that. The average of the two appraisals was 22.5, but we are, as indicated in the past, not prepared to advertise on a West High at this point, just due to all the possibilities that that end of town may have in the future. So we're just hanging on to that piece. 215 and 501 Arch, those are the ones on the other side of the street across from Acapulco's. If you remember, those were two properties. They are being surveyed as one. Once we
The
would
one that
have,
had the little shack in the back.
yes, and we
Right?
had,
Yeah.
yeah. What was the average of those appraisals, Kelly? You remember?
16.
Anyway.
It was 16.
16?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's combined.
Yep.
So, once we've confirmed that the survey is complete, we'll proceed with advertisement on that property as well. We talked about 146. That's all I've got, unless there are any other questions from the board.
No other questions, and move on to approval of claims once properly certified. Nobody wants to pay anything, Kelly.
I'll
make a motion, Tom.
I have a motion to pay the claims by Randy. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Owen. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Claims paid. Comments from the audience, except for Pat.
Approved.
I just wanted to share some of the successes of the LRC program with you. I received this email, and I often don't get these kinds of positive emails, and I thought it would be really nice to share it with you. This is from Quilter's Garden. She said, "Good evening. I got this last week. I think it must have been about 7 o'clock at night, so she'd put in a long day." She said, "I'm just finishing up after a very busy day and wanted to touch base with you to let you know how the city's investment of $6,000 has paid off when they helped me to purchase a second long arm for the shop. With the second machine, I'm able to finish quilts twice as fast, and so my turnaround time is cut in half, and this is very important for several reasons. I've earned quite a reputation for my quilting, so I have quilts that people bring to me as well as mail to me from several states far away, and so I was in a constant state of backlog. Now the second machine has allowed me to quilt up to 4 quilts a day instead of 1 or 2. This is also very important because a quilt shop in Cincinnati has recently purchased a long arm. They're now offering very basic services because they still have not mastered it, and I have 6 years of experience over them. There's also a new shop in Fort Thomas opening tonight, and they're offering long arm services. But again, I have the experience and now the fast turnaround time that the others simply cannot provide. I also offer rental time on the older machine, So I charge people $100 to learn how to use the machine. Then after they take lessons, I charge $30 an hour anytime they want to quilt their own quilt. So even while they're using one machine, I'm still quilting on the new one. This is a service that only one other quilt shop that I know of does this, and she's in Loveland, and they're so backed up, I'm now booking her customers and also drawing her customers that live closer to me. I rent 2 to 3 times a week and have already booked up until October. I could rent it every day, but I still have quilts of my own to do, so I cannot. As far as buying this building, which you should all know, she is in the process of buying the building she's in. As far as buying this building, it is all in the hands of the underwriters, and we hope to close in the next 2 weeks. Keep your fingers crossed. Oh yeah, and now as a property owner, you'll be hearing from me again, because my sweet little church will need a new roof and the basement finished. She is planning on finishing that and putting business in that basement. So she said, please share with the committee so that they know that their money was well spent and is actually helping me to afford the down payment to buy this church, which will become a gem in this town. Just you wait and see.
That's
I thought
awesome.
you would enjoy knowing that's a business, by the way, that before she started business, she went through the SBDC and completed all the steps she needed to get in business and to be successful. She's been in business 6 years. So I think that's a really good success story.
Where do all her customers park?
Where do they park?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I've always been curious.
Well, some park in front, but I think they park in that lot there that is
Across
across
from
from
the-
Home Furniture.
Home
Yeah.
furniture.
Do you mind emailing me a copy of that?
I'll
Thanks.
share it with you, but I wanted
Thank
you all
you.
to know that you're getting some good results with your program.
No, that was great to hear.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
When you get it, you underline it.
Oh, Mr. Seymour.
Something for you guys to think about. The end of the wall, good idea. IFAS, you can cut into it, mold it. You can do away with it. What I mean is the next person coming in's not stuck with, hard, making a brick look like it hadn't been patched up. One thing I'd like you to think about, I know Maria's got enough work, and what I would be thoughtful of is we've got a pretty big project over there right now, and I know that I would like to see Maxwell have control of that whole project and area. Is there any way that you guys might think about approaching them and saying, look, here's what we want done to this building? That way, as they're building the stage, they can coordinate, they know who's on the project. I think they would be able to make things happen, because as of right now, that is their area to work. So I don't know how well it's going to work for us. It might be a nightmare trying to get in there and squeeze in on that area to do the work. So that would be the only thing I would like you to think about. And I know they've worked with those people in the past, because that's similar to what we did to our floodgates. The finish on it's similar, and then they would be adding to that, so they are familiar with that project, and
don't think
then
we-
they would have control of it.
Well, I don't think we have to think about that very long.
It's just something
Yeah.
for you guys.
They're working there, it makes sense.
I'm in.
They know what they're
I mean-
doing.
I got it.
Let's also authorize Brian I make a motion, we authorize Brian to do that.
Okay, I'll second.
Because they are our
Dennis's
CM,
motion,
so.
Tony.
Okay, I have a motion by Dennis and second by Randy. All in favor?
Aye.
Use Maxwell. Motion passed. Anybody else? Anyone else from the audience? Nothing for you, Pam?
Tom's not coming up for anything tonight?
Shh, don't ask Tom. Ah, dang it,
There
Dennis.
you go. See,
Well, I know he's got some important stuff.
Well, I know that
Long-winded.
that about 2 or 3 meetings ago, that the board here voted to put out an RFP for the surrounding of the park. And for whatever reason, it has been slowed down.
No, Tom, we're on top of that now. that's what this was about earlier with the thing from MKSK.
Well,
And in addition,
so what you're saying is, first you're gonna put something together so that people know what is gonna be
that's already
available
done.
over
And
there?
anybody can basically, Brian, correct? Anybody can basically have that wants it.
Yeah, anybody who
Yeah.
has interest in doing anything,
How-
just send
however-
them my way.
Okay, what I'm saying is that if somebody comes into Brian right now and offers $1 million, and I'm being facetious,
Sure.
but $1 million for it, he can't say yes, because this is property owned by you guys, and the situation is, you have to put out an RFP.
Right, so he can't say yes because once we put out an RFP, somebody might offer us $2 million.
That's correct.
So we want to see them all before we give anything away.
That's correct.
Tom, what we're doing in essence here is we're willing to gamble that extra 3 or 4 weeks while MKSK finishes off the product that we really want. And in the interim, if someone wants the original one we had, we'll work with them on ideas. It's like a local area or something, a different market. But we're willing to spend that extra month to wait for that finished product.
Okay.
And he thinks they're going to meet their targets, so I'm comfortable with that.
I'm like you though, Tom. I want them out. I want them out tomorrow.
I realize
We all
that
do.
this is a quote-unquote a city project, and it doesn't happen as fast as all building houses.
His house is not going up too fast. Get the floor now.
Sounds like Tom's invested in his housing company.
Anybody else from the audience?
In the basement.
Well, hearing none, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
A motion by Dennis, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cross. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Aye, aye, Captain.